job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my job. I was just fired from my job.
Say that again?
I was just fired from my job. Now I have nothing but this. I have nothing but this website. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing. I have nothing anymore.
What?
I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore. I have nothing anymore.
To the person that sent that video to corporate and got me fired, thank you. And I know that everybody is going to see this video too, and that's okay. I'm not going to say anything wrong. Did I realize that what I was saying in that video was going to lead to this? No, I would have never done that. But it seems like with my life, no matter how hard I try, I end up shut up. But I know that everything happens for a reason. And I may not know right now what that reason is, but eventually God will reveal that to me. I love helping addicts. I love helping people. This job stressed me the some days, but I didn't care because it was worth it, because I was helping people. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. My daughter is about to go to college, and I don't know now how I'm going to pay for that, but I know that I'll figure it out. And if you want to send this video to corporate too, that's fine. But to anybody that creates content, if you work at a treatment facility, if you work in healthcare, watch what you say very carefully, because it doesn't matter if you don't speak somebody's name. Just describing a situation is enough to get you fired. I did not know that, but now I sure do now. I don't know what I'm meant to do in this life. I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I am trying to follow the path that I thought God had for me.
As you can see, the more you around, the more you're going to find out.
And wanted for me, but I just keep getting thrown different ways. Maybe I make stupid decisions, yes, but my intentions are always good.
So, we came in for an order earlier to print a poster for a vigil tonight.
Yeah, so
for somebody that passed. It's not
it's propaganda. I'm sorry, we don't put that here.
Alrighty, so what's your name?
Farrell, I'm print supervisor.
I'm one of the managers.
Yes.
So unfortunately,
So they say they don't print political
print
propaganda.
No.
So this is somebody that passed away a couple years ago.
That's political propaganda, unfortunately. I'm
So
sorry.
this is for a prayer tonight, for a prayer vigil?
It's still propaganda, unfortunately.
What makes it propaganda?
Because he's a political figure, and I don't have to.
Press.
Yeah.
Our general manager is going to be in on Monday. If you
No,
want to
it's
speak
totally
further on the
we
subject,
have
you would like to.
you're welcome to.
You Pinocchio! Come on, your own business.
Why don't you?
Why not you?
Why don't you take some? Why don't you grow your own?
This is not your property. Go somewhere else.
Well, this is not my property.
Come on, your own business.
No.
911 dispatcher from Nashville, Tennessee. She has been put on unpaid leave due to her social media post. For some reason, Haley thought that this cartoon would be appropriate. This is a person that works in law enforcement. She's a 911 dispatcher. Well, she was. A lot of people on this app were making jokes about Charlie Kirk's assassination on social media. And today, they are waking up, finding out that they have no jobs and they have been fired or laid off. Well, what did you think was going to happen? Just because you don't agree with what somebody says does not mean that you should be doing stuff like this. It's disgusting. I hope they find the rest of the people that have been making jokes about the situation, and I hope they all lose their jobs.
Some stupid comments about Charlie Kirk on the day that he was shot. I said some things on Blue Sky and on Threads that I'm sorry, not sorry for. But I said them, and I deleted them when it was requested that I do so by my employer. And then today, on a weekend, On a weekend, I'm told that I am no longer employed at Microsoft. After 6 years, building the diversity, equity, and inclusion department from scratch, I lose my job because one of you, some random person, reports my posts to my employer, goes out of their way to find out where I work and takes my job, takes my security away from me for a thought, for an opinion. And you talk about freedom of speech like you care about it. And you're just going to take my money, my life, my food off my plate because I don't like Charlie Kirk? That's not okay. It is not okay to target me because I felt joy that day. I can't help how I feel. I felt joy. That's me. That's what I believe. That's what I think of him. I can't help that. So I don't deserve a job?
As you can see, the more you around, the more you're going to find out.
I am having a hard time believing that this person, for the lack of a better term, is actually someone genuine and real. This person just comes across as a caricature of a fringe woke leftist. This person has the septum ring in their nose, and they have that whiny voice going on. I felt joy. It's not okay to dox me and take away my job from Microsoft when I spent 6 years building the diversity, equity, and inclusion department. I am embarrassed to call this person a fellow human being, and this is a genuine person. Frankly, if you felt joy of a fellow human being losing their life, being assassinated because of their words, because of their beliefs, because of their non-violent rhetoric, then you're a sick person. To think that we have gone from my grandfather's generation, where my grandfather, actually both of my grandfathers, survived the Great Depression, survived World War II, went through real, genuine hardships. These people were real men. To go to this thing? We have lost our way, ladies and gentlemen. If this is the standard Western male, or I don't care what this person identifies, but if this is the standard that we are going to have moving forward, say 20 to 30 years down the road for Western civilization, then we are completely screwed. A lot of people, particularly in Russia and the Eastern countries that actually embrace masculinity, they look at the West as decadent, and they look at the West as being this, they don't even know what it means to be masculine anymore and what it means to be a man. And if you want to say, well, we must go against the patriarchy, well, the patriarchy exists for a reason. Real men lead their families. Not this crap. Oh, I hope for this person's sake they are not genuine. I hope this is a joke, because if this is not a joke, this is a sad state for the human race.
This is my dad, era, and this is your era. What the f***? You gotta be ashamed of yourselves. Do you realize the rest of the world laughs at us? Do you realize the Russians think we're all f***? Do you realize most of the Eastern Bloc countries think we're f***? Because we are! We're an embarrassment to humanity!
Как я давно хотел это сделать.
В Америку летите?
Да. Переезжаем.
Америка самая свободная страна. Страна возможностей.
А вы с мужем летите?
Да, мы вместе. Он сейчас подойдет. А вот и мой муж. Знакомьтесь.
Эмили.
Простите, мистер. Пассажиры позади вас вегетарианцы. Им неприятно, что при них употребляют мясо.
Мы же их не заставляем это.
Простите, но в США принято придерживаться принципа демократии. Позвольте, я это заберу.
Парень, тут очередь в туалет.
What do you want?
В очередь, говорю, встань в туалет.
I want to go to the toilet.
Простите, мистер, что случилось?
Да вот парень без очереди лезет тут.
И что? Вы не хотите его пропустить?
Я?
Конечно, конечно. Его надо пропустить. Мы подождем.
Его народ долгие годы терпел притеснение белых. Мы перед всеми афроамериканцами в долгу. Простите нас, сэр.
Прошу вас.
Вы не могли бы пересесть в носовую часть самолета?
В смысле, я один?
Нет, вы все трое.
Зачем?
Там сзади пара, а не child-free. Дело в том, что ваш сын попадает в поле их зрения, и это вызывает у них дискомфорт.
Прости, матушка Россия! Мы возвращаемся!
Hut! 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 Hut!
After celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, DC writer Gretchen Felker Martin has been fired, and DC has canceled the entire new series of Red Hood. She posted some comments that I almost don't want to repeat. Hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie. The first issue dropped of Red Hood on Wednesday, but by Thursday, DC had fired her, canceled the entire run, and even refunded the comic shops for unsold comics. Honestly, this shouldn't be a shock or a surprise. Felker Martin has a long history of extreme public statements. From 9/11 to Osama bin Laden to the awful stuff she said about J.K. Rowling. So honestly, how did DC not see this coming? DC said her comments promoted hostility and violence, which violated their standards. But the fact that they cold called this disgusting person and got them to write for them should set off some alarm bells about what's coming from DC. Bottom line, Red Hood is dead on arrival.
Episode 2 of Let's Make These People Famous for the vile comments they have made about Charlie Kirk's unaliving. I don't care what political party you are a part of, this is never okay. We have a lot of these, so buckle up. This is and she made this vile comment here saying he is a terrible human being. Terrible. I do not wish blank on anyone, but him not being here is a blessing. She works for this school district right here, CCSD Panthers. They have made this statement addressing it, but nothing has yet to be done about this woman. Pause to read. This woman right here is she allegedly works for the Knoxville Community School District, specifically at West Elementary. She is a special education teacher. She made this comment here saying, I normally would say till I see you again. So since I never wish to see you again, to you, I say goodbye. Then made this comment here saying, bye-bye, a-hole. This is he is the assistant director of admissions at Hampshire College. They have actually made a comment about what he has said, just saying that his comment does not reflect their values. He said, I'll say this once about Charlie Kirk. The man was not going to say all of those words. I will never mourn the loss of a man like that, ever. The only people I feel bad for is his children, simply because they will have to reckon with the kind of person he was. He was a horrendous human being. To be honest, I can't say his name. I think it's Whiny. He made this comment today saying, America became greater today. There, I said it. He allegedly works for the Greenville County Schools. They have yet to make a statement about his comment. This is I think, is the lead writer for Suns the Phoenix Sports. And they have made a comment we'll look at, but he said, truly, I don't care if you think it's insensitive or poor timing or decline to respect an evil man who died. Too many of you are more concerned about being polite and appearing to be good people rather than showing some backbone and standing on principle to condemn hate. He also made these two comments here. Pause to read them. Phoenix Sports says, we have addressed this matter and with the individual and made the decision to part ways. There is a lot more where this came from, so stay tuned for part 3.
I was just fired from my job. So, yeah. Follow me. I don't know. Like this video, give me a follow, and stay tuned for more content because it is coming. It is coming.
He dead. He got shot in the head. Fuck your homie dead.
Yeah, fuck your homie dead. Evil is real, people, and it kind of looks like that. Evil. Evil. Murder is bad. She is evil. Have not said. Why are you being so hateful?
Why are you so hateful? Why are you so hateful? Why are you so hateful? Yeah.
Hey, can somebody tell her to back up?
Can you not put the camera in my face?
I'm sitting here. You walked up to me.
Okay, well,
I don't want this. I said rest in peace.
And I can
Just leave it alone. Please don't come after
Ma'am,
me.
you've been
I want to be left alone.
I'm not emotional, ma'am. Don't tell me what I am and what I'm not. You can get out of my face because I could tell you what you are, but you won't like it.
You're being aggressive. You're being aggressive.
I'm not being aggressive. My voice
You
is
are
very
being
calm. You're calling me
aggressive.
aggressive because I'm a black woman.
Not at all.
You are. We're not.
Okay, I'm going to ask the obvious question. Are we seriously to believe that this person right here going on, okay, putting mockery of this person aside, did this person seriously get into this Texas University based on their own merit? I think what we're looking at right here, and I can't prove this, mind you, this is just me being... I'm just taking an educational guess on this. But based on this person's actions alone, dancing around like a complete moron, and you can't even make out what this person is saying because they can't speak proper English, I think this person was definitely an affirmative action admission. I just don't see an ounce of intelligence coming from this person at all. Seriously, what possesses a person to go into a vigil for somebody, dance around like an idiot, speaking gibberish, and then try to claim that they're the victim because of their race? This is what Charlie Kirk meant about DEI. It's taking away from meritocracy, and instead it's replacing it with this equity nonsense where, well, we have to have black pilots and Native American pilots. I don't know. I'm just being hyperbolic here. It's not to say that blacks can't be pilots or blacks can't be doctors. And quite frankly, I know plenty of people that are African American origin that happen to be pilots and doctors. Really good people. Very smart, very capable people. But what DEI does is it takes away from their merits. It makes them believe that, well, am I in this position because of my actual merit, my actual competency, or is it because of my skin color or what I happen to represent phenotypically? People have to know that they are in the position because they are highly competent and they have the merit to do the job. I am so sick and tired of this superficial aspect that you must have a particular phenotypical look in order to do this occupation. We must have an equal representation, but not the actual merit to do the job. And it's not racist for Charlie Kirk to say, well, based on like the whole DEI aspect that has been enforced down people's throats, I walk onto a plane and I happen to see that there's a black pilot, it's going to make me question if they're actually competent to fly that plane. That's not necessarily racist. That's a legitimate concern. It could be that person is a highly competent pilot. This person right here that's going on and just acting like a complete ass at a vigil, what's to say this person became a pilot? I would be highly concerned about that. I mean, it also goes back to the Dunning-Kruger effect, where a person's like inflated confidence basically goes beyond their competency, their actual competency. That's what DEI has essentially turned these so-called minorities into. And I'm not being picky on any type of minority. I don't even like the term minority, because I think what it does is it tries to make them out to be less than what they really are. I think everybody should be on an equal and level playing field. I don't look at a Hispanic or a black person as being lesser than me, or a black person being lesser than me. And I'm not even going to reveal what kind of race I am, because I think race is just a social construct anyways. We need to look at people as human beings. And if we happen to be based on meritocracy, and for some reason we have more black people being pilots and more Asian people being pilots than, say, any other race, I'm completely fine with that. Because I know that that person is in that position because of merit. But when we try to encourage these stupid people, and they happen to have this thinking mentality that, well, I'm black, therefore I'm better than you, then we're going to run into some serious problems. What I prefer is people are given an equal opportunity. Equal opportunity is much better than equity. Equity is just a superficial concept where we have to have everybody appear equal, and that we have to have this artificial level of equality across the board just so that we can placate to our misgivings or our guilt, all because there happens to be more of a representation of a particular group in a category. Say that there are more white males being pilots than there are black males, females, or whatever. We need to actually have a system based on meritocracy. And equal opportunity is the key to that. I want people to be able to be proud of their accomplishments because they achieved on merit. Not because of what they represent, but because of what they have inside of them. I want them to be awarded for their intellect, their hard work, and being effective in what they do. I think people need to stop identifying by race, but they need to be able to identify as fellow human beings. We don't look at, say, Mark because he's a black person. We look at Mark as the human being, for example. We want Mark to be able to achieve great things in his life because he has the merit to do so. He has the drive to do so, the motivation to be successful. But we take away that person's success if we happen to prioritize Mark's race over his actual merit. That's go for meritocracy. Let's make meritocracy a real thing. And that's what Charlie Kirk advocated. I totally support that.
Middle Tennessee State University in Murfreesboro was fired for remarks they made after Charlie Kirk's death. Let's get back to Peyton at the WKRN.com alert desk now with the new information. Peyton.
Yeah, the MTSU president issued a statement saying an employee offered, quote, inappropriate and callous comments on social media concerning the horrific and tragic murder of Charlie Kirk, end quote. MTSU says the comments were inconsistent with their values and have undermined the university's credibility and reputation. The employee was immediately fired. Their role at the university was not released.
Thousands of people have gone online celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk, and many of them are now losing their jobs. Many of the people you've seen cheering on the passing of Charlie Kirk started with this man who just moments after Charlie Kirk was struck, right in front of him, was cheering on video that Charlie Kirk was hit. Then you have this woman who was a nurse going on TikTok celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk, and now people have found out where she works and are talking to her employers. This man who wrote this entire statement here is actually in the military, and people have already alerted Pete Hegseth, who is essentially this man's boss, and will probably be trying to do something about it. You have another woman who is a 2nd and 3rd grade teacher's aide who was posting about that she wished she would have heard of another obituary talking about Donald Trump, but instead she would settle for Charlie Kirk. And this man, probably the most prominent person to be fired after their comments on Charlie Kirk, was Matthew Dowd, who was actually working at MSNBC and went on air saying some absolutely terrible things. But more and more of these videos are coming out, and more of these people are going to be losing their jobs.
A Barrington teacher tonight put on paid leave after parents say the teacher posted inappropriate comments on social media about the shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
No remorse, no nothing. It was more so, he got what was coming for him.
Parents say the post in question was a TikTok video. It's since been taken down, but parents we spoke with still saw it.
It was a post of a male teacher who is saying that the killing was justifiable.
Barrington Superintendent Chris Ashley first announced the school's actions to parents over email before addressing the issue again at tonight's school committee meeting.
We will be conducting an outside investigation into this. We can't discuss the details.
Any acts of political violence cannot be tolerated.
Parents tell us the teacher in the alleged video works in the high school and is involved in the union. Multiple parents spoke out during public comment tonight.
Having the most evil reaction to someone's death is literally disgusting.
To make our students feel safe, our conservative students feel safe, our Christian students feel safe, he needs to be removed.
The school said that he's now on paid administrative leave. Is that enough?
No, it sets a precedent that you can say whatever you want on the internet and nothing will ever happen.
And I asked the school committee for the name of that teacher. They wouldn't give it to me. On Monday, the school committee will determine who that independent investigator is going to be.
So, prayers and thoughts for Charlie. No, I have no prayers and thoughts for him left from all my prayers and thoughts for these innocent children who did nothing wrong. We're not sending out divisive, hateful messages. We're not saying that empathy is a problem with America. I refer to him as the anti-empathy guy. I just want to make sure that y'all had heard about the school shooting, because to me that is something that is more concerning than a douchebag who brings karma down on himself. I mean, ironically, the moment he's getting shot, what is he doing? When he's asked about mass shootings, comparison to gang violence in a dismissive way, tell me that wasn't karma doing her finest work. I'll praise the shooter. He did a good job. He had good.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and my name is currently first on a website claiming to expose Charlie Kirk's murderers. You might be wondering how I got here. I'm kind of wondering that too. I already told this story to Wired, but let me tell it to you now in my own words. Because for the last 2 days, I've been getting messages like this non-stop, claiming to know where I live and saying they're coming for me. Now, what did I say to deserve all of this? Let's go to the website and read the screenshots that they included of me celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. I said I was terrified to think of how far-right fans of Kirk, aching for more violence, could very well turn this into an even more radicalizing moment. Will they now believe their fears have been proven right and feel they have a right to retaliate regardless of who actually was behind the initial shooting? That analysis came from the fact that I am an experienced journalist who has extensively covered right-wing extremism. That's also why, by the way, a lot of people hate me and want to shut me up. And I was immediately proven right. Many far-right personalities are using this as an excuse to agitate and retaliate against their political enemies. That includes former conservative leader Andrew Scheer, because this is where it all started for me. The hate massively escalated when former conservative leader and sitting currently conservative MP Andrew Scheer took my words and called me twisted and said I have so much hate in me. Pierre Poilievre's wife also boosted this post. Then things got even worse when I got a DM from a friend of mine telling me about this website. She sent me the link, and at first I thought she must have sent me the link to the direct post about me on this website. But then I double checked the link and I realized this was the homepage. My name was first. And then things exploded. The flood of threats turned into a tsunami. And as it escalated, I shared that I was scared. Then several massive American right-wing accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers took a screenshot of that and shared it saying I deserved it, without showing what I actually said. And suddenly I was like the face of people celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder, even though that literally never happened. And it's made the last 48 hours of my life a living hell. Every single person who's ever disliked me is using this as a chance to get their pound of flesh. But this is the part I really want you to hear. It's not just me. There are tons of people listed on this site who aren't public figures, who have never dealt with this before, and I am terrified for them. Some of the posts on this website are private messages. People are snitching on folks in their lives. And if they've received what I've received in the last 48 hours, which I'm sure they have, I am so worried about them. People are out for blood right now. And there are people out there who are using this moment irresponsibly to serve up their perceived political enemies as a sacrifice. And for what? They're just proving me right. And I just really hope no one makes good on these threats, because I now have to live as if they might.
Oh my Lord, Rachel Gilmore, she's such an embarrassment. As a fellow Canadian, I apologize for Rachel Gilmore. Like, this person has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. So Rachel Gilmore, for people who don't know who she is, and consider yourself blessed that you don't really encounter this person on a regular basis through your social media feeds. Rachel Gilmore is a pretend journalist who used to work for Global News. She ended up getting terminated from her job. I don't exactly know the reason behind it, but I think it's pretty obvious why she probably got fired. She's just so heavily biased. She claims to be a right-wing extremism expert, and she's so hyper-fixated on the far right that she tends to forget that there is an extreme far left, the woke far left. She likes to pretend that they don't even exist, and then she tries to say that the Conservative Party of Canada happens to be far right, which is absolute nonsense. Rachel Gilmore is a person that I recall back in February of 2021 when the trucker convoy happened in Ottawa, Ontario. She tried to claim that the trucker convoy was a far-right movement trying to usurp the incumbent Liberal Party of Canada at that time, which was quote-unquote led by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who is otherwise known as the worst Prime Minister in Canada's complete history. The trucker convoy started where they wanted to talk to the government directly, whether it be in committee or whether it be in a private meeting. They wanted to talk to the federal government about the vaccine mandates that were forced down their throats. Not in a literal sense, but I'm just speaking within, just giving you just like an analogy of what this was like. But they were being forced these mandates, and they wanted to have a talk about it. Well, Justin Trudeau basically called them a fringe minority. He called them racist. He called them xenophobic. He basically threw every single pejorative he could at them to try to diminish the integrity of the trucker convoy. But when you actually take a look at the Freedom Convoy, it was one of the most diverse political movements, political protest movements to ever happen in Canadian history. I have friends that were there, and I know this to be an irrefutable fact. There were Southeast Asians there. There were Sikhs there, particularly in high numbers. First Nations people, Asians, Jamaicans. There were even Russians there. It was everybody, every single demographic you could think of. It was a very pluralistic movement. But this is what we have with someone like Rachel Gilmore. They skew things and they try to make it out that, well, this was like a far-right movement. They wanted to do a coup d'etat, like take over the government. No, that was not the case at all. They just wanted to have a say at the door. They wanted to have a conversation, negotiation. That's what democracy is about. You have a give and take, quid pro quo. It's about having a discussion. And all Justin Trudeau had to do at that time was, okay, let's have a table discussion here. But he was too much of a coward to do that because he actually does not believe in democracy. But Rachel Gilmore, to think that she would come up with a tweet like this saying that, well, this is going to cause like a far-right uprising, when in fact the opposite came true. There were people that came together in vigils and in prayer. There were people that went to church for the first time in decades, all because of the Charlie Kirk effect. They wanted to show a sense of humanity, to show that it doesn't matter what your beliefs are, but if you have a belief in humanity, a belief that we should be peaceful with one another, coexist with one another, be able to encourage each other to be the best that we can be without demonizing or making out the person that may not necessarily have our beliefs to be the villain. It was about coming together as human beings and saying, you know what? In the spirit of Voltaire, I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend my life and I will devote all of my strength to defend what you have to say. Rachel Gilmore does not get this point at all. She essentially believes that Charlie Kirk was this de facto right-wing leader, extreme far right probably in her definition because she's just so far gone to the left. She wants to believe that he was this leader who was encouraging this xenophobia and this hatred and all this racism and dividing people and coming up with all this vitriolic hatred towards people that are claimed to be minorities, when Charlie Kirk actually would reject the term minority because he believes that all human beings are equal under the image of God. We are all fellow human beings. We all have a soul that deserves to be saved or have the opportunity to be saved. Her prediction was absolutely wrong. Worldwide, it was people that came together in peace and harmony. We need to reject violence. We need to come together. Political violence is not the answer. And she just wants to go on with like this idea that, well, Charlie Kirk is going to encourage violence. He never encouraged violence at all. Not once. Not one iota. Oh, she's such an absolute disgrace. This is the same person that wants to pretend that Christophobia does not exist in Canada. She'll acknowledge that, oh, there's some instances here and there, but I don't think it's an actual real thing. Yeah, that's because you're so biased and so partisan that you really don't care about Christianity or Christophobia.
And I'm aware churches have been burned, but I think that that's pretty complex, especially when you put it into context with the, I don't know why all of those churches were burned, and it's also not happening at the rate that people are saying. Like Polyev said today, it was more than 100, 24 confirmed instances over 3 years. And that's with something like, I think Pam Palmater said there's about 12,000 churches in the country. And also, like, we have seen situations where certain folks will say that, like, a church was burned, but it was, like, being converted. It was, like, I remember there was one instance where it had been already deconsecrated because it was being sold for, like, condos, and there was, like, some issue with the insurance. So, like, it's complicated. Like, not every single instance of a fire in a church is something you can link back to those feelings of grief and rage.
You just want to basically stick within your bubble, interview your people that you tend to gravitate towards, to like Charlie Angus, who's an absolute lunatic, in my opinion. The NDP are just so far gone, but that's just a whole different story. Oh, jeez. Like, they are their own worst enemy. That's, speaking of the new Democratic Party in Canada, which I think she's likely a part of. That's probably her party, but she'll probably say that she's non-political, which is absolute nonsense. She is very political. You know, she's one of those people where you have to disregard what she says and go by her actions. And her actions basically just tell you that she's just a fringe woke leftist. Again, she's just an absolute embarrassment. She has no idea who Charlie Kirk is or his beliefs. She just wants to mischaracterize the man and pretend that he was like this fringe right-wing person. Sick. Oh, Rachel, maybe you should actually study Christophobia. There have been so many church burnings in Canada as it is, and you want to pretend that it doesn't exist. It does exist, lady. If you want to be accredited as a nonpartisan journalist, how about looking in your own backyard? You're probably going to find a lot of proverbial skeletons, maybe some literal ones. On another note, a final note on Rachel Gilmore, and this goes out to Rachel Gilmore. Rachel, if you happen to watch this video by chance, which I doubt you will, but just by chance, if you happen to watch this video, I would actually like to see you interview a real conservative. Hey, maybe Andrew Scheer might take the opportunity to talk to you and why he has some differences with you. Perhaps you can get a third party where the interview can be monitored, just so that you do not happen to just edit everything that Andrew Scheer says and put everything out of context, which you do on a regular basis. But if you want people to take you seriously, how about you actually interview some real conservatives? Get to know what their real, genuine beliefs are. What do they actually believe? What do they actually advocate for? Not what you perceive to think they advocate for, but what they actually advocate for in their own words and their own actions. I just wonder that if you're just someone that's just prone to your own reverie of what you think a right-wing extremist is, when in fact your point of view might just equate to, well, they're actually more moderate than they come across. You might actually learn something. Just a suggestion, Rachel. But if you don't want to take that seriously, then people are just going to still consider you to be just a partisan hack as you've always been perceived. Rachel, I just want to end on this note. Reading those tweets that have been sent to you or those direct messages, they are absolutely vile. I don't wish any harm to be put on you because you're a fellow human being. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to have a form of mutual respect. But I want you to be able to give that respect in return. There has to be a form of reciprocity. But anyone that is encouraging harm towards you or saying these vile things, they deserve to be condemned, and I condemn them equally. My challenge for you is I want you to be able to actually talk to a conservative. I'm not saying like the extreme far right that you perceive. I'm actually talking about a real conservative. How about you talk to Andrew Scheer, Pierre Poilievre, or maybe Melissa Lantzman? How about you actually talk to some real conservatives? Or maybe you could talk to some American counterparts like Ted Cruz or Matt Gaetz. That all depends if they're willing to talk to you. I think it's time that you start to have an honest dialogue. Step out of your own comfort zone and actually talk to these people. Get to know what their genuine beliefs are. That's my only suggestion to you, is I want you to be able to have some diversity of thought. That you're able to accept that there is such thing as diversity of thought and not just this fringe woke left bubble that you keep yourself within. I genuinely want you to explore these options, Rachel. I mean, I do have my doubts, but maybe you might be able to evolve your perspectives and get to learn what's actually out there. Maybe you'll actually get to know that there is such thing as objective truth, not this my truth crap that your fringe woke left side likes to proclaim. Reality is always here, but there's an objective reality. Reality is not what we think or it's just manifested out of our own imaginations. Reality is the here and now, and it's the present. But either way, Rachel, best of luck on your future endeavors.
I believe gay and trans people, like everybody else, have an equal right to life and should not be killed. Yeah, it's called banning abortion. Yeah.
For actual, alive, living, breathing, older than the age
Okay,
of...
see, now you're being you're wrong. The child in the womb is alive. You said actual live. A human in the womb is actually alive.
So rewind. Current, post-birth. Are you advocating?
Yes, I believe gay and trans people should not be gunned down in the streets or killed because they are equally valuable. Do you believe Charlie Kirk has an equal value right to life?
So still, rewind, because
no,
what
let me
you're
ask you,
trying
because
to...
that's something you probably disagree with. Do you believe my friend Charlie? Do you think he deserved an assassination?
No, he was a Nazi. That's not a good conversation.
That's actually not true.
I'm just
What's
gonna say
the proof
something.
that Charlie was a Nazi?
That he advocated for the death of trans and gay people. He advocated
No,
for the
he
death
did
of...
not. That's actually been disproven multiple times.
Okay,
if
that's
you
not the
actually
conversation
look up
that
the
I
clip.
came to
Okay,
have with
because you
you.
can't defend it. Okay.
No, it's because I don't want to defend.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the face of the uneducated and the ignorant once again. This girl just comes out of nowhere and says, oh, he was a literal Nazi. The first thing that Kristen should have did was, okay, tell me the origin of Nazi. What's the etymology of the term Nazi? Did you happen to know it's a pejorative for anyone that belonged to the National Socialist Party in Germany during the Third Reich? What do you know about the Third Reich? I guarantee you this person would not know a clue about these things because all she knows is the typical groupthink buzzwords that her fringe woke liberal leftists happen to go and spout off all the time. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're a fascist. Oh, you're just racist, xenophobic, blah, 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 blah. It's the same old crap, and they do not know what the meaning of these words are. I recall there was this young girl that was on the Whatever podcast, and she essentially made this claim that the whole panel was being, quote, misogynistic, unquote. Brian, the host, asked her, well, how do you define misogyny? How do you define how it means to be misogynistic? And this girl just froze. She was just like a deer in the headlights. She had no idea what to say or what to rebuttal with. It wasn't really a rebuttal. It was just, can you just define what the actual term means? Then she started to cry, and then she asked to leave, and then she basically just ended up leaving.
Do you want to read this one, Rachel? I think it's directed to you.
Yeah.
No, like out loud.
Oh. Here we go. First girl, serious advice. You need to stop making decisions and choices. Find a man in your family who is sensible and who really cares about you. And just take their advice seriously. Also, abandon feminism. It's truly poison. Okay, you guys are all just like really misogynistic. I don't necessarily need a man to tell me. I also have females who can support me. I feel like women and men can both provide that.
Wait,
So
what is misogynistic about his statement here?
Well, I don't know why it has to be a man. Why does it have to be a man? I think the problem
why
is...
is that?
I would
I'm
say
not sure
most
why
of
that's
my-
misogynistic, but
No, not that. I mean, like... never
what's
mind.
how do you define misogyny?
There's a lot of answers up there, Brian.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, how do you define misogyny?
I don't know. I don't like this.
What? I'm just asking how you define misogyny.
Can I go?
Are you okay? Like, do you want to go as in leave? Is it because I asked how you define misogyny? Is that the...
No.
I wanted to make sure that we were like talking about, because in a debate, it's very important that both people are talking about the same thing, and both people have things defined.
Well, I'm not going to answer how I'm using this in the context because I have signed a waiver.
Wait, what?
Never mind. I don't.
Do you want to just take a little breather? Or you could just stay at the table. I mean...
No, I'd like to go home, if that's allowed.
Because I asked about how you define misogyny. That was the precipitating thing. I've said some way more...
I don't know. He's asking me to abandon feminism. It's like, do you even know what feminism is? It's like, hey, I was never the one that's been like sitting here wanting a man to be a man.
Wait, what? Well, let's talk. Let's try to talk.
Home.
Well, let's try to talk it through. Let's try to get to the bottom of this, because it seems like it's a position you're really strong on, and we'd like to hear your stance. Nick. So let me try to maybe parse what he was saying. So Darian Murphy, he was saying abandon feminism. You object to that, which is fine. You also objected to him saying find a man. You can certainly find like a strong woman in your family to guide you too.
The reality is like, it doesn't matter about other people. Like, the only person that can fix you is yourself.
Yeah. But you can always go to like a parental figure.
Also, you're already talking about like pornography, and like no man is gonna marry yes, there are men that will marry women that do pornography, but you were also talking about how there's a lot of men that are judgmental of that, and like things being potentially online forever. Yeah. It's like this is like literally no different for me. Like for me, it's like anyone can look this up. I thought this was gonna be like some little student podcast that like maybe 5 people listen to. I have no idea.
But okay, so are you just on the adult content thing? Do you object to men having a preference for not dating women who have been engaged in that kind of adult content?
No, I think it's really ridiculous that guys are. Also, I've had a lot of guys sit there and complain about how they're jealous that women can actually go into that profession, because a lot of males do not feel like they have a platform in that business. And I do think it's an industry. I do think it's a business. I respect it. It's good as dandy. Can I please go home?
If you want to leave, you can leave. I was hoping we could continue having a conversation, but
just let it go.
Okay, I mean, if you're leaving, we can't really offer that, but okay. What? Did it? Bro, I don't know. The chat's like, what? I'm trying to like have a conversation about it. Okay, whatever.
I think that was the first time in her life she was faced with like the truth of and the consequences of her actions. And
I think she was just like gathering like everything she said on here, and it just hit her kind of. I could see that in a bit.
I think what's becoming more evident is when you take a look at university students or college students within Western civilization, I find that they're being more indoctrinated into a certain level of groupthink instead of actually being taught how to think critically. And I mean by thinking critically that You go through a deductive process where you examine the information, you verify it through a deductive process where you take all the ideas that are being brought forward, all the information, and you find commonalities, and then you just slowly piece it all together. Then eventually you're going to get a picture, and that picture is going to be the objective truth. But I'm finding that a lot of university students, especially in Canada, they're being told how to think. It's all about indoctrination. This is the narrative. You must believe this narrative. Nothing must contradict this narrative. If you do not believe in this narrative, you are not a good person. You're going to be given the same labels that these young kids have been saying all along. Fascist, Nazi, and so on. They don't understand what they're talking about. They don't know what they do. They just are taught this nonsense. But we really need a huge reform when it comes to education. The United States is starting by getting rid of the Department of Education. I think that's a great idea. Give it to the states, let them compete with each other. Having like this great huge bureaucracy never works. The bigger the bureaucracy, the bigger the problems. And that's especially true of education. I even seen some studies where you have some people that are graduating from high school and they can't even read past a 4th grade level. How is that possible? Why is it that we're pushing these kids ahead, but we're letting them fall behind at the same time when it comes to their actual aptitude of education? This needs to change. It needs to change in a very drastic fashion. This is why Charlie Kirk went to these universities across the United States. He wanted to challenge the narratives that these young students were being taught. Not just the young students, but anybody that was attending these institutions. He wanted to challenge them on the reality that was recorded within American history and history throughout the world. For example, a lot of these young students are being taught that the founding fathers were racists and that they wanted to keep slavery. And they actually were looking to phase out slavery within the exception of the country. Also, there was a lot of different belief systems that they wanted the states to have like a foundation of faith to be a part of the Union. And of course, I mean, there have been some founding fathers that were secular based in certain respects. Thomas Jefferson being more inclined to deism than Christianity, for example. But Charlie Kirk was there to challenge these narratives. Charlie wanted to see if they could actually be critical thinkers, that they can be able to actually have a rebuttal, a back and forth debate. But a lot of times it led to emotions over facts. Well, facts don't care about your feelings. It really comes down to the reality of the matter. And if anything, Charlie was effective with these cross-country debates throughout the United States. He attended these universities. He definitely left an impact. Make no mistake about that.
Terrible about somebody who was just assassinated. Why can't you just say that
Because he was
I
a
disagree?
Nazi.
So you think he got what he deserved?
Yeah. 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 Hi to the camera. Hi to the camera.
And there you have it. You got these fringe woke leftists that are condoning violence. They're saying that Charlie Kirk deserved to be assassinated because of his point of view, which was non-violent, it was non-racist. He was actually someone that was looking for unity. And then you have this narcissist look at the camera like, oh, hi to the camera. Pure narcissism. They're just so clueless. Even just listening to them, it's just like brain rot. It's just, oh. The negativity is just beyond words. And you see them like affirming, like, yeah, he deserved it. Sick people, man.
You hear what you're saying?
Yeah, I do.
You just said a father of two.
Oh my God,
Got what
oh
he
my God,
deserved.
oh my God, a father of two. He wanted his child to carry a baby if they got raped. Wait, no, look at me. No, look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
Oh, I'll look at you.
He said that if his 9-year-old daughter got raped, he would make her carry that baby to term. Is that something you agree with?
Yes. My daughter got raped.
I was laughing so hard at this point where she just frantically goes to her smartphone and she's just doing all these Google searches, probably going to her Wikipedia articles to prove, Kristen, you see, you're wrong. There was mass lynchings at universities across the United States after Charlie Kirk's assassination. If that were true, that would be mainstream news worldwide, especially something that's racially motivated. That would just be on an endless news cycle. You would see it on CNN nonstop, MSNBC. You would just see it all on the mainstream news outlets. It would just be nonstop. But I was just laughing so hard that she just is just doing her best to try to find a news article to prove the veracity of her claim, and here she is. She can't find anything at all. On the topic of abortion, it does pose a unique dilemma. And in this case, if you have somebody, a young girl, that is SA'd, and I'm going to say SA because you can't say the proper term on YouTube unless you're going to get banned or something like that, but I guess that's an incendiary term. But for someone to go through such a violent act and expect them to carry a child to term, I just think it's just wrong. I tend to agree in this circumstance that there should be an option for an abortion. It's like you're letting that person be victimized twice. And it's not the child's fault, the conceived child's fault, not their fault at all. But you got to think about just the totality of it. Now, if there was an option for adoption, I think that is something that should be open for sure. When it comes to abortion, I think it should be a last resort. I don't agree that abortion should be a form of birth control. I think people need to take responsibility for their actions. If there are two consenting adults and they happen to conceive a child, you should have the premeditation in your mind that, well, we're committing this act. We must understand that there's a possibility of conceiving a child. In this case, if you don't want a child, you should practice abstinence or, tubal ligation, get a vasectomy. I mean, those are other methods that you can go with. But I think in this case, to expect a young girl to carry a child that was conceived through SA, I think it's absolutely cruel. As I said before, I would think it would be a good avenue to explore adoptions. However, I think it's a form of cruelty to force a young girl to carry to term if they happen to be SA'd. It's re-victimization, and I just think it's absolutely cruel. If the young girl was able to provide, whether it be like the help of family or if they wanted to put the child up for adoption, I think that's great. I mean, that's great avenues. But in the case of if this child was conceived by SA or incest, then I think abortion should be an option. It just seems to be cruel to bring a child into the world, whether they might have some defects or genetic abnormalities through incest, or they happen to grow up knowing that they weren't conceived out of love. I think that would cause a lot of psychological issues with that child. But then again, it depends on how they're conditioned. They might end up growing up with loving parents, and whether it be the mother and another partner, or it might be the adopted parents. I mean, there are so many variables. It's such a difficult dilemma. Yeah, that's just my take.
The most unimaginable tragedy I can imagine. I don't think sexual assault and the conception of a new human being justifies killing a human being, because that That's discrimination, ma'am. I'm against the death penalty in all cases. And why would I ascribe the death penalty to a child in the womb?
Okay, that's great. That's wonderful.
Well, you just said that my friend got what he deserved. I want you to back that up.
Yeah, because he was
a
Nazi who was advocating for violence, bro.
He was not a Nazi. He never advocated for violence. That is purely
He never advocated for violence?
No. How many cities burned after Charlie was assassinated? How many violent things happened? If he was actually
black
advocating
students
violence,
were lynched on campus. Violent things happened after he died. Yeah, don't look like you're
black students were lynched on a campus.
Yeah, there were people hung from trees on campuses. So maybe read the news.
Okay, but you won't disagree.
Why would anyone lynch a black person on a campus for shooting Charlie? It was a white person who shot Charlie.
That's such a good question. No, and that's such a good question.
And that's wrong. First of all, that didn't happen.
It didn't happen?
It did not happen. Just like how Charlie wasn't a Nazi. Just like how Charlie didn't advocate for violence. But lynching human beings is wrong. And that's the whole point of the pro-life movement, is that all human beings have a unique value and right to life. They're all valuable. So lynching humans for any reason and in any time period of our human history has always been wrong. Even though it was allowed in many of our states, it's always been wrong. Because our legality does not make our morality.
No, I agree.
But you'll get fitted for a bulletproof vest because some people think that if they disagree with the views of someone, that it justifies killing them.
All right.
So that's a pretty sad state. She justified murdering my
She doesn't have the mic anymore, so let's keep this between us. Like, let's just lock in.
Sure, let's ignore someone, just dehumanize a human being and justify their murder callously.
Okay. So
Yes,
you obviously
right, he's an
seen
eternal being now because he's in heaven. He's a saint.
you see